Okay, we are live. I'll just remove myself. You guys continue debating.
Oh, you can go around then, Steve. Bro. Steve, bro?
Firstly, before we begin, I would want to ask if are you two guys living together, or is he just a friend of yours?
Okay. So, hello all. So, today we are going to have a debate, and our debate is with an anti-natalist. So, I invite Vladimir Makarov to introduce his views against extinctionism.
Yes, I am here. And
So,
are you
Vladimir, you
coming
can go
from
on.
that Reddit post?
Yeah, I am the same person.
Okay. So, what were your
Hmm.
arguments? I made that post actually, and then you responded to that. So, what did you have to say where?
No, no, actually, you can present all your views here because people who will
Okay.
be watching the live won't be aware of all those posts and all. So, you
Okay.
can
So,
present your
firstly,
views against extinctionism. Yeah.
actually, recently, just about a week ago, I was invited into this subreddit, and as I later got to know more about this
Hmm.
philosophy, it became clear that you guys are trying to create some kind of scientific advancement that is just going to erase everything out of existence. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what we are trying to do.
Okay, so actually,
Mm.
initially, when someone looks at the premise of pro-extinctionist, it kind of becomes obvious that you guys would be anti-natalist because obviously, someone who is intent on destroying and eradicating altogether all the suffering, why would he
Mm.
talk in favor of continuing human life further? Is that obvious?
We are not anti-natalist. See,
That's what
anti-natalism
I'm
is an
saying.
ideology. Anti-natalism is an ideology which says that reproduction is an act of immorality, or reproduction is an unethical act, right? That is
Okay,
what
okay.
anti-natalism.
Actually, no, that
So,
is not the thing.
so
I understand, but both the
mm,
philosophies kind of stem from the same thought because they are intentionally trying
mm.
to eradicate the suffering that's present in the existence. Is that not right?
Yeah, that is right. So I'm telling you the difference, or telling you why we are not anti-natalist. Okay. So
Okay,
antinatalism says that the act of reproduction is immoral. Like it's kind
okay.
of moral absolutism. It says that in whatever condition, if you reproduce, it is immoral, it is unethical. That's what antinatalism is. But
And
that
why?
is
And okay, okay. Let's consider for a
Hmm.
moment that why do they consider that to be anti-moral? Why do they not consider it to be a just act?
Can you repeat that? I didn't hear you.
I said that
Why?
why do anti-natalists consider the act of reproduction as an immoral one?
Antinatalists consider act of reproduction as an immoral one because maybe they think that you are causing suffering, right, by reproducing a person, right? That you have to say actually. You are the antinatalist, right? Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, yes,
So that you have to say, right? You are the antinatalist.
yes, exactly. Because for
Hmm.
eradicating the suffering, that is what I'm favoring.
Yeah. So to eradicate suffering, you are saying that you shouldn't reproduce, right? So
Because
that actually comes from a very irrational viewpoint. Actually, reproducing not always accelerates suffering or increases suffering. That is completely
wh-
irrational, right? For example,
how
like almost I can almost say that reproduction of humans actually reduces suffering in this world.
okay, how can you say that?
I'll explain. Okay, so like when a human reproduces, okay, I don't have a child right now. So if I
Okay,
reproduce a child, that child is going to consume a lot of resources, right? So that child will
okay.
consume a lot of natural resources, which will cause like destruction of lot of ecosystems, right?
Yes, yes,
So
that much is
like
obvious.
it will cause lot of deforestation. It will cause destruction of lot of marine ecosystems. So this will actually reduce the reproduction rate of wild animals. If a
Oh, so
single human is absent, if a single human is absent due to the loss of his ecological footprints, lot of wild animals will reproduce. And by quality and by quantity, probably wild animals suffer much more than humans.
So actually, you are completely downplaying the existence of suffering for humans. Do you think that you just reproduce once and then it's over, and the
Absolutely,
child
absolutely
that you
not.
brought forth is not going to suffer any further? Is that the thing?
I never said that child is not going to suffer. You are the one
I
who
mean,
is actually downplaying the suffering of wild animals, right? You don't
actually,
try to put
see,
that in my head.
firstly, the thing is that if we talk about animals and humans, why do you think what makes humans superior to animals? Have you ever considered that it is their
I
rational
never.
faculty and their ability of being able to retrospect and simultaneously introspect about their future? Basically, the combination of things, including hope and fear. These two are the
Hmm.
things that exactly make them to be different from other species like animals.
So the ability to,
The
can you repeat
ability
that?
to
The ability to. Ah,
basically the gist of all that is humans have the ability to introspect about their future so that they could be hopeful about different things, and simultaneously they also
hmm,
have the tendency of being in fear. Do you
hmm.
think those two
So
things are
you
present with animals?
so so you really think that animals are not in fear?
Actually, if we talk about animals, do you think this is
Hmm,
different kind of fear which animals feel because they are out
hmm,
continuously? They kind of feel threatened because of their physiological habitat and the environment they are where
hmm,
they exactly are living. We exactly
hmm.
humans are not kind of living in vulnerable atmosphere where we would be worrying about the physiological debilities that would arise out of that situation.
So that is a benefit for humans, right?
Definitely, it is a benefit, but it is a double-edged sword. That is also you have
Then
to acknowledge
then how
because
the fuck do you tell that
when
wild animals are less than humans?
what
Then for what reason you consider that humans suffer more than wild animals? You are saying that it is a benefit for humans. Are you contradicting yourself?
I was just trying to prove a point that since human beings have this advantage of rationality, this is a double edged
Hmm.
sword that also becomes more agonizing for them in certain situations. That's exactly what I'm
In
trying to say.
what
Like,
way does rationality? In what way does rationality becomes more, like it causes more suffering to humans?
okay, let's see. If a rational human actually, have you ever seen an animal committing suicide? Answer me that firstly.
No, no, I
Under
never
what
seen.
circumstances? Under what circumstances do you think a human being feels compelled to take his own life? Have you ever seen
No,
animals doing that? What could be the reason, and
no.
what kind of different psychology might be at play there that kind of
Have
whispers
you
human into
have
ending his own
you
life?
ever seen a like 3-year-old child trying to commit suicide, or a mentally retarded child trying to commit suicide?
You know why that never happens? It is because in the inchoate
Mm,
stages when a baby is born, even a human baby, you won't be
mm,
able to see much difference between an animal baby and a human baby because they both are essentially
yes,
same kind of species because they are ignorant.
yes,
They do not have that kind of rational ability which an adult, let's say adult human possesses. That's why their abilities and the
exactly.
activities which they do is very much similar.
Yeah, exactly. So, do you think that human babies require less of a moral consideration than adults?
What frame your question again?
So, do you think that human babies deserve less of moral consideration than adults?
In what way moral consideration?
Like you are arguing that animals deserve lesser moral consideration, humans are superior because they have the ability to be rational, right? So I'm saying that human babies also doesn't have that ability. You agreed with that already. I'm
Yes,
asking you by the
obviously.
same logic.
Yes, yes,
Does
yes,
human babies,
obviously. If you
so
are going to
babies
keep
require, so babies deserve less of a moral consideration than adults, right? You agreed with that.
definitely, definitely. Firstly, the thing
Okay.
is that if you keep animal baby and a human baby side by side, then you are not going to be
Hmm.
able to distinguish between them so easily.
Hmm.
This is the first thing. And now, the
So you
fact
agree with
by
that. You think that adults deserve much more than babies. So babies require less of a moral consideration, right? So if I
yes,
see
for
an
the time
adult
being,
and a child
for
suffering side by
for
side, I
the
should be saying the
see,
adult, right?
for, for the time being, until their intellect gets developed to that point where they are able to think rationally, until that point, they
Their
should be considered on
their
par with the.
intellect might not develop also. They might be mentally retarded, right? So they also
Okay,
require
so
less of a moral consideration.
in that case we are definitely talking about a very small number of people because mostly we are talking here
I
about the
don't mind
majority
whether
of
I
people who
don't
are
mind the
suffering.
number of people. I'm asking you whether they deserve lesser moral consideration or not.
Actually, if you are talking about pro extinction, which talks about the ending of all suffering, then definitely a mentally retarded person is suffering very much because of his ignorance. So in that case, he should be the first one to go extinct.
So you are saying that if a person is suffering much more because of his ignorance, he deserve like primary concern, right? In
Yes,
morality.
that's the reason why you people are so much
So
concerned with
by
animals, because
the
animals cannot think rationally.
so by the same logic, animals deserve more of a moral consideration, right?
Animals, in a sense, I was essentially trying to prove the fact that humans suffer more in certain situations. You are just considering the beastly tendencies where animals kind of become the prey to their predators. That is not the kind of suffering I was talking about. Actually, tell me, what are the certain situations
No,
under which
I
an
don't
animal
get you.
suffers?
See, actually, are you aware of what you are speaking right now? You are sure? Are you sure you are not contradicting yourself?
I am not contradicting. I'm just trying to prove you a point by kind
See,
of
literally,
uh,
just don't jump from another this point to another point. I'm just asking you. You just said that. You just agreed with me that a mentally retarded child deserves primary concern because that child is not able to help. Like child will not be able to help themselves, right? Because of
yes,
that child's ignorance or lesser intellectual capability, right?
the lesser
So by the
intellectual
same
capability of.
logic, by the
Uh,
same logic,
yes.
I'm asking you, animals also like comparable to mentally retarded children, their intellectual capability is less. They won't be able to help themselves because they are ignorant. I agree with that. So by the same logic, do they not deserve more of moral consideration?
But only for the time being. You are here assuming that person is going to remain like that forever. But if we talk about an average people, that he's definitely going to develop that intellect, so he is going to transcend that state and become better than any animals in terms of intellect.
See, don't contradict yourself or don't try to dodge the question. Okay, a mentally
You are
retarded child, you can
you
diagnose the child
no, uh,
from the childhood itself. You will be able to diagnose the child, right? So you told me that you in the live you just told that a mentally retarded child deserve a primary moral concern, right?
no, I did not say that. Primary moral concern is not the thing. It is basically that since he is suffering more because of him not being so intellectually superior, he should be euthanized.
Uh,
That is what I spoke.
so the same thing I am saying, right? Since animals are not morally, intellectually superior, you should euthanize animals first, right?
But the MR condition that you are talking about is not something that happens prominently. But the state and the suffering of animals that you are talking about is just the beastly nature that is happening around everywhere. Here you are trying to make comparison between something that is specific to something
I
general.
don't
That
get
is your
you.
problem.
I don't get you. I don't get you. First of all, you told that humans are superior because they are more rational. They have more intellectual capacity, right? Second, I
Okay.
asked you about those humans who are not intellectually capable. Okay, first thing you considered humans as superior because they have intellectual capacity, more of intellectual capacity. With the
Yes.
same logic, I'm asking you why consider mentally retarded children because their intellectual capacity is less. So you told me that these mentally retarded children, they suffer more because of their ignorance and they should be euthanized first. So by the same
See,
logic, I'm asking you
see.
why animals? Hmm.
Okay, I understand your question. I understand your question. First, consider this one thing.
Yeah.
If we are actually concerned about suffering, are you just interested in single point of time in a frame, or you are concerned about the bigger picture? Tell me firstly this thing.
I'm concerned about suffering whenever wherever it exists.
Okay, so you are not concerned about the bigger picture.
I'm concerned about the bigger picture. That's what I'm saying, right? I'm concerned about
Firstly choose.
suffering
Firstly
wherever
choose if you
it
are
exists
concerned.
and whenever
No,
it
no, no.
exists.
Firstly, you have to
Mm.
pick your side. If your concern is completely based on the immediate thing, or you are concerned about something that's going to happen many years down the line, what is that concerns you more? Firstly, clear this thing.
See, extinctionism basically tries to eradicate suffering from its root cause itself. We have to eradicate suffering permanently. That's what we are trying for.
Okay. So that means
Mm.
eventually you are going to be concerned about the bigger picture, right?
Yeah, I'm already concerned about the bigger picture, right?
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Since you are concerned about the bigger picture, suffering is something that
Mm.
happens chronologically, like going forward in the time. It is not something that
Mm.
freezes kind of in time. You understand that?
I don't get it. What do you mean?
I'm saying that suffering is something that happens through time. It is not something that is independent of
Hmm.
time. How can you say that a person has suffered unless you take time into consideration?
What does that actually mean?
That simply means when you
I,
say this person has suffered, that person must have
uh,
suffered through a series of events that must have taken some time. Na? That wouldn't have happened automatically or
okay.
overnight.
Okay.
Okay, this much is understood.
So you are saying that a person might have suffered for a period of time. Okay, fine.
So that is exactly the thing. Since you are saying that suffering is very prominent, you are clearly pointing out to the fact that suffering has been going on for many ages, and that is what you have been identifying and observing everywhere.
Okay, I do agree. Suffering has been going on for many ages. Okay, fine.
So when we are concerned about the time that is constantly moving, why
Uh,
are you intent on comparing something that's temporary, like the MR condition of a patient that you are talking about is very distinct
mm.
from the BC tendencies of animals that has been going around for all the ages, because it is not their intrinsic state of being born an MR child. Do you get me?
I don't get you.
See, let me make it more clear, please. This time I'm gonna
Uh,
make it more clear so that you won't have any
okay, make it clear. Please
ambiguities.
do make it clear. Yeah. Mm.
The thing is, you are comparing the default state of animals with an
Mm.
exceptional state of human beings.
Exceptional state. Okay, fine. Ah, see,
The
all these
default
things
is
doesn't matter whether it's an exceptional state or it's an
no, no,
intrinsic
no,
state.
no,
All
no.
these things doesn't matter. Wait a
That
second.
definitely.
Wait a second. Wait a second. See, you are pointing out to a trait. Okay, you are pointing out on a trait, lesser intellectual capability. Right. So
Yes.
this is the trait you are pointing out and saying that this is the reason for providing more or less moral consideration for beings. This is the reason to discriminate beings, right? So if
But
you are
you
using
cannot
this
take
trait
my
mean,
argument.
wait a
No,
second,
you
wait a
cannot
second,
make.
wait a second. If you are
Okay,
using
okay.
this trait mean, it should apply for animals. They are intellectually less capable. For
Okay.
mentally retarded children, they are also intellectually less capable. This trait is what matters. It doesn't matter whether this is rare or whether this is intrinsic for animals. All these things I never took into consideration. Okay.
So actually, before framing that question, you itself did wrong, because you should have considered
Hmm.
whether the states we are comparing are their default states or not. Because in that case, the comparison would not be like
What
apples to
the heck
apples.
is
Here
this
we are
default
comparing apples
state
to
actually?
oranges.
What the heck is this the default state? A mentally retarded child is born mentally retarded means it is his default state, right?
I am talking about the default state of human beings. That is, a mentally
Uh,
retarded child is called
See,
retarded
all
for the very
humans
same
are
reason
not
that
same.
he does not
All
belong to the
humans are
default
not
state.
same. All humans are not same. All animals are not same. Okay, so you don't have to take that. There is no such a same default state for all humans. There is no such state. Different humans are different.
Actually, you are specifically pinpointing a certain mental condition that is only specific to some of the people that are born. So it cannot be extrapolated to entire population. That is what I'm
It
saying.
doesn't matter. There is no such a specific default condition for humans. Not all humans are born same. There is no such a default
Definitely there is
condition.
one.
Each
Definitely
person
there
has
is one.
different. Each person has differing intellectual capability. Each person has differing physical capability. You just don't try to dodge here and there, bring up some random points. Okay, you just focus on the point.
Okay,
Do you still hang on with your?
let's consider
See, do
a
you
simple. Let's consider
do you?
simple
Wait a second.
analogy.
Wait a second. Do you still hang on with your argument that lesser intellectual capability is a reason to discriminate animals based on morality?
I say we will only be able to do that until they both are at the same pedestal. Here, the comparison is not being made between apples to apples. Do you understand that?
I am asking you a simple question. Don't dodge the question. Don't try to go around and round. I am asking you a simple question. Yes or no? Do you stand with your argument that lesser intellectual capability is a reason to discriminate beings regarding morality?
Yes, with regards to suffering, they definitely need to be discriminated because animals
So,
cannot suffer as
yeah,
much
okay.
as any other
So you
rational
agreed
animal.
with that, right? You agreed with that means you shouldn't. You should stand in your point, right? Okay. You should. So when I say that mentally retarded children are lesser intellectually capable, you should stand with your point. You shouldn't jump from there, right?
No, so I am standing.
You
I
shouldn't
never
contradict
digress from
yourself.
that statement. Okay, okay.
You shouldn't
Let's
contradict
consider.
yourself.
Okay, okay. I'm not contradicting. Let's consider an analogical thing. You were saying that we
Uh,
cannot consider specific situations because every human is different, right?
Hmm.
You said that, na?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's consider
Yeah.
that
Okay.
if someone is if someone is born either with only one hand or one leg, he would be different from other human beings.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, so then if we talk about the biology textbooks, why do they depict humans only with two hands and two legs? Why are they not including those humans
I
who
don't care
either
how
had?
biology textbooks are made. It is made by some person. It is not some uh,
You are
objective
you are
fact or
concerned.
something.
You are
I
concerned
don't
with
care about that. I don't care how animals are shown in the textbook. What is this textbook? Is it some authentic source of how humans should be or something?
so you do not care about science either. That seems like
That is absolutely moronic what you are saying.
biology
Since
is
humans
also a
are
science.
shown with see
If
that
you are
that is
intent on
absolutely stupid. See, you are just dodging around with some absolutely stupid points. What you are saying is that since humans are shown with the two hands and two legs in a textbook, what does that mean? What does that mean? Humans are supposed to be like this. So whoever is born
yes,
with
definitely humans are supposed
disabled,
to be
that
like
is
this.
count
It
as
is
human. That is what
that
you
is
are
a
saying.
that is an understood and inherent fact that cannot be
What
contradicted
is
by
an
anyone.
inherent fact? What is an inherent fact?
Inherent fact is that human beings are rational species, and you cannot contradict that by any means.
See, in textbook, biology textbook, that person will be shown with a specific height, right? A specific hand is to leg ratio, right? Specific chest width, right? A specific body type. But each person born has a different body types. You cannot find the same say, a person who will look as same as that person in the picture. So
we
what
are
does that
talking
mean?
about we are talking about the basic
See,
physiology. Why
absolutely. See,
don't you
I don't have
understand that
time for
you
this.
do not have to be this much, you
See,
do not have to nitpick
I'm
this
telling
much.
you, you are actually dodging around absolutely nonsensical point because you don't have a point to debate. Probably,
Actually, the thing is that you raised your argument on a erroneous point. That's why all these
I
contradictions are
raised my
happening. You should not have
argument. I
compared.
proved your
You should not have
contradiction. Right?
compared
You
an MR
contradicted
and a
yourself.
normal human being in
Debate
a
is
first
almost
place.
over. Debate is already over. You already made the statement in this live video that if MR children are less intellectually capable, so they should be euthanized first. You made that statement. Right? Your point is over. You are actually done in this debate. Do you realize that?
So, what was the point of proving? I was just trying to say that you are specifically taking just one case and trying to prove that you have
See,
kind of proved some kind of point. But that did not
specifically,
happen because you have
specifically
considered a
you told
specific
that,
exceptional example.
specifically you told that MR children are suffering more because of their ignorance and their state of existence. So they should be euthanized first. They should be given primary moral consideration. Specifically, you told
Okay.
that. I can cut to that portion
So,
and I can send you. There
so
the
if
debate
we
is
say,
over. Animals are
okay,
suffering
no,
more because of their ignorance and their specific condition of existence. Right. So euthanize them first. Finished. If you again go against extinctionism, you are contradicting completely yourself. You are actually exposed in this debate.
but the thing is, you have considered only a parochial view. Why don't you understand and realize that? Should you have considered a more kind of holistic view? Then we would have debated further. But you are just talking about
What
one
is a
individualistic
holistic
case
view?
and trying to pinpoint the fact that
What is that
the
holistic view? Just explain me.
what
What is that holistic view? That in
holistic
biology
view is
text,
that
humans are shown like
you
this. So all the
you
humans are
should
supposed to be with the same
listen.
height,
Listen,
with the same
listen.
hand length, with the same
Let
leg
me
length, with the same chest width. Is that what you are saying?
let
With the
me
same body type?
let me explain you the holistic view. Listen.
Hmm.
The holistic view is that human beings, since eternity, have been known for having the rational abilities which other animals
Hmm.
are lacking in. That is the understood
Hmm.
thing. And now you just shift. You are shifting your arguments to some MR child, so that I could also shift to some animal that are equally kind of rational as humans. So can we consider a chimpanzee on par with the normal
See,
human by that logic?
the thing is that you're like you're actually forgetting what you said. You are not even aware
No,
of
I
what
did.
you're talking about. Okay. The
Initially,
thing
my
you
point
said is
was
that
that
wait a
no.
second,
Let me phrase my
wait a
point
second.
and then you will be able to
Okay, you
speak.
can
The
finish
thing
it.
is,
That's
I
fine.
initially
Hmm.
said that human beings suffer way more than any other animals, and I still stand by my
Hmm.
statement even at this point.
That proves that you are contradicting yourself. Debate is over. See, I am telling you, you clearly made the statement that MR children are suffering more because of their state of existence, because of their ignorance, so they should be given primary moral consideration, right? So again, you
Yes.
started your debate with again you started your debate saying that animals are ignorant, they don't have intellectual capacity like us, so they should be given lesser moral consideration. Now you change your stand here and you are saying that those beings with lesser intellectual capacity should be euthanized first, should be given more moral consideration. Don't you realize that you have lost the debate?
Actually, I should have considered myself lost if you considered a more widespread view with regards to human, because I did not come here to debate about MR children.
You
You
are
have completely brought the topic off the rails and are
now
now
you are
talking
just
about the debate. This debate is not justified.
see, now you are just desperately attempting something. Actually, the I think the topic is over. That is what you have
Okay.
said already.
Let
Mm.
me just tell you last thing. Actually, you are
Mm.
just trying to perpetuate the suffering of more and more humans and animals, because this fact has been
Yeah.
proved that animals suffer way more because of humans. If humans were to live for another years, more like the kind of years you are envisaging, that we would be waiting until the scientists develop some kind of contraption to eradicate suffering in a jiffy, that is not going to happen. And the longer you wait, the more people and the
Mm.
more animals are going to suffer. So you are subjecting
How
them
is that?
intentionally to suffering, hoping that
How
one
is
day their
that?
suffering would be eradicated. That is the wrong point, because you just have the option of eradicating their
Like
suffering right now. Why would
like
you not
don't
choose
just
that?
make blank statements, bro. Don't just make blank statements. If you are
My
saying
statement
that
has been very clear
existence
since the
of
beginning. I
humans
did not come here to debate about
existence
specific
of
situations.
humans is actually increasing animal suffering, you
See,
should be giving a reason,
actually,
right? At least.
I'm just going to tell you straightforward that I'm not a sophist like you. So I'm not kind
Mm.
of entangling you into
What does
different
that
kind of
mean?
arguments and things. I'm just placing my point, and the fact is established that if you are going to
Mm.
continue suffering, it is going to happen by
Mm.
your waiting more and more for the scientists to develop some kind of
See,
uh,
now
thing where you
now you
consider
are
that they are going to.
now you are talking like a religious person.
No, no, no. You are
Without any
actually acting
reason,
like
you
a
are just
religious
saying
person.
that you are going
No.
to cause this, you are going to cause this. If you don't believe in God, you are going to cause this. Right?
Who is believing? You
Give
are
me one
saying that we believe
reason.
that. You are
Give me at
saying
least
that.
one reason. Like don't just blabber blank statements. Just to say one reason why is existence of humans going to increase animal suffering? What is the reason?
Haven't you seen the researches that how humans encroachment into natural resources and their consumption due to the increased population has displaced millions of
That is
species and
actually
also
very
caused
good thing.
extinctions?
That is actually reducing animal suffering, because if you encroach and you destroy all the resources means you destroy all the forest means, right? But
And
that
when
area is
okay,
cleared means
so
reproduction rate
you
of
seem
animals
to
will
be,
reduce.
in this case you seem to be more concerned about the suffering of wild animals than the humans itself, and why humans are reproducing and
When
multiplying
did I tell
themselves,
you
and
like
are they
that?
not suffering in the process?
See, you are just making blank statements like I am considered more about wild animals than humans. I am considering more about black humans than white humans. You are just making blank statements. The general doesn't make any sense. See, these
Your
are just
philosophy
all
is
of them are
entirely.
just sentient
Let
beings.
me.
Yeah,
Okay.
wait a second. Wait
Okay.
a second. Let me
Listen,
continue.
listen.
Let me
Let me
finish it.
just say
Let
one
me finish it.
statement, and then you would say
No, no,
whether
no,
I'm
no, no.
right or
Let
wrong.
me finish it.
Are you guys not depending on the forces of nature to eventually decide that whether scientists turn up someday with a different kind of cure for ending the world? Is that not it?
We depending on what?
I said, are you guys not depending on something that you have no control over, and just hoping that one day something will turn up and some kind of technology will be developed that would eradicate the world? Is it not right?
We are trying whatever might be possible. Okay, I'm not saying that
What
100% we can
exactly are
find
you
out
trying?
technology.
How much are you aware of the
You do one
scientific
thing.
developments,
You
and
sit inside my mouth and
do
speak.
you
Then
even
you
have
do
an
one thing. You
inkling
sit
of
in inside my mouth and speak. Otherwise, I'll do one thing. I'll close the camera. You speak for yourself, and we'll record and upload it. Is that fine for you?
Okay, so is it not your philosophy that you are waiting for scientists to develop some kind of thing that would eradicate existence?
We are not waiting activists. Okay, we are not waiting here. We are actively doing activism. We are convincing people. Those whoever can do social activism, they are doing social activism. Whoever is putting
Convincing,
signs, they are
see,
working in the field of science. Right?
convincing can only get you so far. Eventually, the exact development that you need in scientific regard would be developed by scientists. So, how are you
Con-
contributing to
convincing
that?
convincing, or I'm not saying convincing, changing the society, right? Rationalizing the society is what will lead to more of scientific researches, and that is what will lead to scientific advancements, right? So
And
if you
what
are
are you
living in
doing?
a feudal society, wait a second. If you are living in a feudal society, the researches that are going on in that society by that system, right? What that system will be funding for what kind of researches they'll fund, that will differ, right? So when you are living in a democratic society, the democratic system will fund for a different kind of researches, right? When you are living in a pro-life society, it will be funding for researches that will promote, or that will serve researches that will be helpful for like propagation of life, right?
You
So we
see,
are
there's
changing
just
the
in
society.
this.
Wait a second. Wait a second. We are rationalizing the society. We are making them understand that supporting life or being pro-life is stupid, right? So when the
In this.
society becomes a pro-extinctionist society, what researchers will be funded, what more and more people, researchers, scientists will be researching on will be a technology that can eradicate the suffering by causing extinction, right? That is how
So
society
actually,
works.
the
Mhm.
point of contention between you and me only remains that you are so intent upon believing that some this kind of technology is achievable, and I, on the other hand, think that such kind of
I
chimeric
am not
notion is
saying,
just
I am
going to
not
be a dream
believing
idea.
that. I'm not believing that this kind of technology will be
You are
achievable.
definitely
I'm saying
believing.
that it
You
is
just
probable.
you just said yourself that by doing our activism we would spread the message so that they are going to eventually develop these kind of things, and
See,
we do would go
see,
towards these
this is
researchers.
just this is just a common sense. See, if somebody is trying to find a cure for HIV, doesn't mean that they are 100% sure they'll be able to find a cure, right? Whatever
So you are
scientific advancement or research, hey, you you have to allow me to speak, man. So whatever researches or whatever experiments are happening in this world, they are not 100% sure that they'll be able to develop a technology, right? So there is a probability that we can develop such a technology. So they'll be working on that, right? So in the same way, there is a probability that we could find a technology to eradicate the universe. There is also probability that we could not find anything, right? So we are trying our luck. That's what we are doing.
and who would account for all the sufferings that would be ensued until you discover that cure of yours?
What is that? What is that extra suffering that will happen if we exist and do those researches?
By continuing the existence and life for all those years until that thing gets developed, wouldn't the
Life of
existence
humans,
continue?
right?
Life of
Life of
humans as
humans,
well as
right?
animals also,
And
because when
animals,
you progress.
can you eradicate animals right now? If we are for euthanizing all the animals right now, we are not saying you should keep the animals like that, because animals cannot do researches, right? Animals cannot contribute to cosmic extinction, so you can euthanize or sterilize all the animals. We are supporting that. And even humans also, they can have rights, like anybody who wishes to end their life can be provided with the right to get euthanized, right? There can be technologies, all these things can be there to minimize their suffering, but humans going extinct is not an option.
Actually, your philosophy can very much be kind of summarized to just a notion where you guys would want to kill all the animals, so that for that you would have millions of people go on a killing spree where they would be killing all the animals whom they encounter. Would that be
No,
the way to go about the philosophy?
now you are just completely blabbering something.
Did you not understand?
See,
I just said that.
there is a difference between killing and euthanasia, or killing and mercy killing, right? Killing is something which is being done for the benefit of the person who is killing, right? Mercy killing or euthanasia is something that is being done for the benefit of the victim, right?
So is it
So
just nahi, so
both
listen,
are
listen,
very
listen.
different things.
So
If
who
I am advocating to, genocide a lot of people, to terrorize the society, to and gain something personally, right? To have some personal benefits, or at least to have to benefit an organization or a group, that is called terrorism. But if I am arguing to euthanize or mercy kill all the beings for solely for the purpose of ending the suffering of the victims, that is totally different case. And if you cannot actually differentiate between these two, like you are not fit for a debate. That's all.
who is going to decide that who's worthy of being euthanized? Are you the one who is going to decide that this particular animal should be euthanized and this should not be?
See,
Who
those
makes
who
you the
are
judge?
intellectually capable, right? Those who are intellectually capable, humans are considered to be more intellectually capable. But after seeing you and many people, I
Okay.
do believe that all humans are not equally intellectually capable. right?
How
So
can you
those
no?
who people who are
How
intellectually
can you
capable will take the decision. Okay.
how can you trust
Not
how can you trust your
not about it's not about wait a second, it's not about who will take the decision, it's about what criteria we will use to take the decision, right? So the only
okay,
criteria we are going to take the decision is eradication of suffering. Whichever act will can eradicate or at least alleviate the suffering most, that is what we are going to take, right? If
that
you
is why.
cause extinction of humans, if you cause extinction of humans, right? If you go for voluntary human extinction, that is the dumbest thing a society, an intellectually capable society can do ever, right?
Okay,
First
tell me
of all,
one thing.
let me complete, right? First of all, it is basically useless because even if humans go extinct, wild animals are going to populate 10 or 100 times more, because all the areas that humans have been occupied will be like rewilded, and wild animals will procreate in large numbers, their numbers will increase, and their suffering is going to be like more like 100 times more, right? And even if I consider your stupid point that like intellectually capable beings suffer more, even if I, okay, I'm just giving that down, it is also probable that these animals can evolve out to be more intellectually capable. Just to see how apes are picking up daily, right? So that is also possible, absolutely no different, and it's harmful. All this evolution process will go on. Intelligence is the capacity that we have got right now. It's a chance we have got to eradicate the base cause of life and to stop the cycle of birth, death, and suffering, right? And you are idiotic enough to argue that we should eradicate this intelligence first. Then who the fuck will solve all the problems in the world, all the sufferings in the world? Non-intelligent beings. Will they solve all the problems? Is a monkey or
Actually,
a,
tell me. Okay, okay. Firstly, tell me this one thing: that do you guys consider meat eating
yeah,
a justified act or not?
considered?
Do you guys consider meat eating justified or not?
See, meeting, it depends. If you just talk about meat eating, it doesn't matter, right? If you are, you can eat meat of a dead person. It's nothing that matters, right? Even if you are eating marine fishes or wild animals, it doesn't make any change, right? If you eat whether you eat a marine fish or not, that fish is gonna get hunted by a bigger fish, or they are gonna die by starving or by parasites or something. Whether you eat it or not, it's nothing of my concern because it doesn't make any change in net suffering of animals, right?
Okay. So
So,
have you ever considered,
hmm,
okay, listen for one second. Have you ever considered the state of the animals like the chickens in the poultry farm or the cows in breeding farms
okay.
where they
See,
are
you are,
being subjected to
I was
artificial
an animal
hormones and are
rights
being
activist.
artificially inseminated? Have you considered
Yeah,
those
obviously. Obviously, I was an animal rights activist all this time, and recently only we started extinctionism. So
are they
obviously, I
so
am
going
concerned
through
about
that
them,
going
and
through
and
going through that going
and I think that about farmed animals is the first step we can take as humanity. When after rationalizing the society, the first step we can take is to stop breeding farmed animals and to either euthanize all those animals and cause their extinction. That is what we can do at first step, and next we can help the wild animals. Okay, so probably he's done with all his points. That's why he escaped, I guess. And I think then we can close the debate. So, but now it's 100% clear that I guess none, like no more anti-natalists will come and argue with us again that they are not speciesists or they are not bigots, right? So clearly, this person has said that animals are intellectually less capable and they deserve lesser consideration. This is a this is evident here at the, like it's recorded here. It's going live, right? So antinatalism is basically bigotry. It is speciesism. That is the point. That is the point we could get out, like get from this debate, right? Yeah. Okay. So we'll close the debate for today. Thank you all. Bye.